Yo, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to a brand new video. Hope all you guys are having an amazing day. And in today's video, we're going to continue talking about my condition, but this time it's on my paralysis. If you guys have not seen my last video, which was on my condition, I do suggest you guys watch that. You guys will have a better understanding where I'm at right now. So when did this paralysis start? Well, it started at the end of November of 2019. And I remember the day like it was yesterday. I was going to the gym with my buddies and my left foot was tingling like it was a sleeping sensation. I didn't really care much of it because I thought it was a sleeping sensation. It was a leg day, so I went to go do squats. As I went to go do squats, I fell down and I was like, wow, this is unusual. And it was a quite embarrassing moment as well because I was only doing the bar and 10 pounds. It's quite light. After that day, my leg was still tingling. Well, my feet. And honestly, I didn't really care much of it. I thought it would go away the next day. Next day, it goes into my left arm and left hand. Made my hands really weak, but I was still able to manage to move my arms and upper body. And then the day after that, I go to the hospital because nothing was changing. It was still my left arm and my left hand and my left foot. So I went to the hospital. The hospital didn't really give me an answer or response. After that visit, my stomach was numb. And the weird part is that it didn't go in my left leg. It went straight into my left arm and left hand. Taken, I only had one semester left, and just to finish all my final exams, because that's all that was left, and I would have passed and graduated university. But because this thing was bothering me so much, I couldn't even sleep at night. And it was just stressful. Like there would be days where I'd be limping on one foot to get to one area to the next. And so just going to school to do my exams wasn't reasonable. And so I delayed all my exams thinking that this thing would just go away in like a month's time. That was not the case. All throughout December and January, I was able to walk. My right leg was completely fine and my back was fine. But the way I was walking was limping on my right leg. I went to go do further checkups at a famous hospital in Toronto called Sunnybrook. I did these checkups in January and I got so lucky because on February 5th, I got an MRI done. On February 7th, I was flying out. And on February 6th, they gave me my results. This is very, very unlikely to get your results the very next day. But because they knew we were flying out, they got us the results as fast as possible. On February 7th, me, my dad, and my cousin flew out to Kerala, India for me to get a Adibare treatment. My dad really thinks this treatment could have helped me with my paralysis. The treatment was 2 weeks long, and honestly, the treatment really didn't do much. I was lucky to get a flight back on February 27th, got home on the 28th, and literally everything was paralyzed neck down. My arms were super weak. I was barely even able to brush my teeth or even eat food. They were such a big challenge. Both legs gave out. I wasn't able to move them, lift them up, or do anything with them. My back gave out, and I was just basically paralyzed. We were originally going to stay there until March 15th. If it wasn't for my communication with my mom while I was in Kerala, India, we would have stayed there until March 15th. I basically told my mom that things are not looking good and things are getting worse day by day and you need to book a flight as soon as possible. And she did that with my brothers. I really couldn't imagine me staying there until March 15th. Getting into and onto the plane into my seat will be such a big hassle, and even going into the washroom. I don't even know how I'd get into the washroom. As well, getting off the plane, and plus, it's not a direct flight. Yeah, so from March to June 17th, I was literally in bed from morning to night. On June 17th, I went to the same hospital that I went to before going to Kerala, India, and I was there until July 2nd. What they did there was a bunch of CT scans, MRIs, blood tests, and a spinal fluid test to figure out what this process was, and they couldn't find anything. What they said was, this thing is most likely related to your condition. And what you're experiencing is actually quite rare, actually extremely rare for your condition. They said that there's only one other person that has experienced this, with your condition. They not only told me that, they also told me that I most likely will have to be operating in a wheelchair. As soon as I got all the information, I literally called my mom and told her the news, and I literally broke down to her. I couldn't imagine being in a wheelchair at the age of 24 for the rest of my life. Walking 24 years of my life, and then out of nowhere suddenly being in a wheelchair just didn't fit my story or narrative. This is why I broke down to my mom. My mom was the one who was like, don't worry, you will be walking. She even went the extra mile to contact priests back home and even talk to people who did horoscope reading. And each and every one of them told me that I will be walking. This is when my faith and belief of walking grew stronger. On July 2nd, I went to a rehab where their main focus was to help function you better. Now, if they can see that you are one step closer to walking, then they're going to help push you to walk. But they were not able to see that in me, so their main task was to help function me in a wheelchair. That I will be eating in the wheelchair, getting in and out of the wheelchair by myself. Oh, and by the way, I was considered a quadriplegic, and I lost 30 pounds from January to July 2nd, because July 2nd was the first time I was able to check my weight. I was 94.5 pounds coming into rehab, and leaving rehab, I was 105. I was at this rehab until September 24th, and I went to a new rehab called Walk It Off on September 29th. And here, their main focus is to help not only function you better, but to help get you standing and walking. At this very point in time, I am so happy and proud of where I'm at. I'm now able to crunch my legs, wiggle my toes and feet, and this is such a big difference from where I was. I'm here to show you that just because a doctor tells you one thing, it does not have to fit your narrative. I am not fine being in a wheelchair at the age of 24 for the rest of my life. I got so many things that I want to do and accomplish, and one of those things is traveling around the world and discovering new places, and being in a wheelchair is not going to help me do that. And I know I am going to be walking very, very soon. Focus, believe, and surely you can achieve. Peace.